Hi there, and welcome to the Retirement Wealth Podcast. Today we're diving into a topic that's on a lot of people's minds: how to build passive income for early retirement. Many folks dream of leaving the 9-to-5 grind behind, but they often wonder, how can I make that happen?
Absolutely, Emily. It's a big question. And the good news is there are strategies out there that can help you create income streams that work for you, even while you're enjoying your time off.
Right. And it's all about having a solid plan in place. We're going to discuss various ways to generate passive income, like real estate investments, dividend stocks, and even creating online businesses.
And let's not forget about the importance of budgeting and understanding your expenses. It's crucial to know how much you'll actually need in retirement, so you can set realistic goals for your passive income.
Exactly. We'll also touch on some common pitfalls to avoid. A lot of people think passive income is just about sitting back and letting the money roll in, but there's more to it than that.
Yes, and we'll share some practical tips to help you get started on this journey. It really is about making your money work for you, so you can enjoy the life you've always wanted.
So let's jump right in and start exploring those strategies for building passive income. David, where do you think we should begin?
Emily, when we talk about building passive income for early retirement, it's so crucial to understand why this is more important now than ever. Just look at the current economic landscape.
Absolutely, David. With inflation rates fluctuating and market volatility becoming a norm, people are really feeling the pinch. It can be pretty scary for those trying to plan for retirement.
Right? Just a few years ago, many folks thought they could rely on traditional savings and Social Security to carry them through. But with the cost of living rising, that's not necessarily a guaranteed strategy anymore.
Exactly. I've spoken to so many people recently who are worried about whether their savings will last. Like that couple I chatted with last week, both in their early 60s. They've done the right things. Saved, invested. But they're still nervous about healthcare costs and inflation eating away at their nest egg.
That's a big concern. Healthcare can be one of the largest expenses in retirement, and if you're not planning for it, it can really derail your financial security. They need to consider long-term care, prescription drugs, and even just routine medical expenses, which seem to rise every year.
Yes, and let's not forget about how Social Security is evolving. There are discussions about changes to benefits, which makes people uncertain. Who wants to plan their retirement around a benefit that could change?
Exactly. That unpredictability is why passive income streams become essential. They provide a safety net, a way to ensure that even if Social Security isn't as reliable as it once seemed, or if the market dips, you still have that income coming in.
It's like diversifying your income sources, right? I know some retirees who have turned to rental properties or dividend stocks as a way to build that passive income. It's not just about saving. It's about creating a sustainable income flow.
Yes! And let's talk about tax efficiency too. Many people overlook how certain passive income streams can be more tax-friendly than regular income. For example, qualified dividends or long-term capital gains can be taxed at a lower rate than ordinary income.
That's a great point. I remember a listener telling me about how they didn't realize that by holding on to their investments longer, they could significantly cut their tax bill. It's those little details that really matter.
Absolutely. And, the emotional aspect of financial security cannot be overlooked. People want to feel confident that they can enjoy their retirement years without constantly worrying about money.
Right. It's not just about the dollars and cents. It's about peace of mind. A retired teacher I spoke with said, "I want to spend my golden years traveling and enjoying life, not stressing over whether I can afford my next meal."
That's exactly it. Having a reliable income allows retirees to pursue their passions, whether that's traveling, picking up new hobbies, or spending time with family. It's about living fully.
And let's talk about legacy planning too, because that's another layer. Many people want to leave something behind for their children or grandchildren. Passive income can help create a legacy while still allowing for a comfortable lifestyle.
Yes. Imagine having a rental property that not only supports your lifestyle, but can also be passed down to the next generation. It's a way to give them a financial head start.
And with the current economic trends, it's becoming increasingly necessary to think about these things now. We're seeing shifts in job markets, interest rates, and even the housing market. For instance, with interest rates on the rise, borrowing costs are higher, which can impact housing affordability for younger generations.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to be proactive rather than reactive. Planning for passive income streams can help mitigate those risks and give you more control over your financial future.
Well said, David. It's about taking charge and making informed decisions that align with your retirement goals.
And as we move forward, I think we should dive into some core strategies for building that passive income. There are so many options out there, and it's all about finding what works for you and your unique situation.
Yes, let's explore those strategies next.
So Emily, when we talk about building passive income for early retirement, one of the first things that comes to mind is the stock market.
Absolutely, David. Stocks can be a great way to generate that income, right? But I think it's important to emphasize that not all stocks are created equal.
Exactly. You might want to look at dividend-paying stocks, for instance. These are companies that distribute a portion of their earnings back to shareholders. It's like getting paid just for holding on to them.
Yeah, and that can be a nice boost to your income stream, especially if you're planning to retire early. Do you have a rule of thumb for how much of a portfolio should be in stocks?
A common strategy is the 70-30 rule. So that would mean 70% in stocks and 30% in bonds, which balances growth with stability. But, it really depends on your risk tolerance and how soon you plan to retire.
Right, and if someone is looking at a 20 or 30-year retirement, they might lean more heavily towards stocks, right?
Absolutely, because over the long term, stocks have historically outperformed other asset classes. Just remember, though, to regularly rebalance your portfolio to maintain that 70-30 split as market conditions change.
And that's where bonds come in. They can provide some stability in your portfolio, especially during market downturns.
Exactly. Bonds are less volatile than stocks, and they can provide predictable income, which is crucial when you're retired. But even within bonds, diversification is key.
How so?
Well, you might want to consider a mix of government bonds, municipal bonds, and corporate bonds. Each type has its own risk and return profile, so diversifying within your bond investments helps reduce risk.
Got it. And what about tax-advantaged accounts? I know those can play a significant role in retirement planning.
Yes, definitely. Contributing to accounts like a 401k or an IRA is essential. With a 401k, especially if your employer matches contributions, you're essentially getting free money.
That's a great point. And with an IRA, you have the option for a traditional or a Roth. Can you explain the difference?
Sure. With a traditional IRA, you get a tax deduction on contributions, which can lower your taxable income now, but you'll pay taxes on withdrawals later. A Roth IRA, on the other hand, is funded with after-tax money, so you won't pay taxes on withdrawals in retirement.
That's really appealing, especially if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket later.
Exactly. And remember, there are income limits for Roth contributions, but if you're eligible, it can be a great tool for tax-free income in retirement.
And then there are the withdrawal strategies, right? Like the 4% rule.
Yes, the 4% rule suggests that you can withdraw 4% of your retirement savings each year, adjusted for inflation, and have a good chance of not running out of money for at least 30 years.
But that's just a rule of thumb, right?
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Depending on your personal situation, you might need to adjust that percentage. For instance, if you're planning a longer retirement, you might consider a more conservative withdrawal rate.
And then there's the bucket strategy, too, which can help manage withdrawals by segmenting your assets into different buckets based on when you'll need the money.
Exactly. You might have a short-term bucket for immediate needs, like cash or short-term bonds, a medium-term bucket for expenses in the next few years, and a long-term bucket invested in stocks for growth. This strategy can help you weather market volatility while still meeting your income needs.
That makes a lot of sense, and as we talk about these strategies, I think it's important to highlight diversification again.
Yes, diversification is key, not just across asset classes, but within each class. For example, if you invest in stocks, you might want to diversify across sectors like technology, healthcare, and consumer goods to reduce risk.
And let's not forget about real estate. That can be another source of passive income, can't it?
Absolutely. Investing in rental properties can provide steady income plus potential appreciation over time. Just be mindful of the costs associated with property management, maintenance, and market fluctuations.
And that's where doing your homework and understanding the local market comes into play.
Right. You want to ensure that your investment will yield a positive cash flow after expenses. Some people also look into real estate investment trusts, or REITs, as a way to invest in real estate without the hassle of managing properties directly.
That's a good alternative, especially for those who want the benefits of real estate without the hands-on management.
Exactly. And speaking of alternatives, annuities can also be a part of a passive income strategy. They provide guaranteed income for a certain period, which can be comforting in retirement.
But they can be complex, right? Different types, fees, and terms to consider.
Yes, and understanding the specifics is crucial. It's important to read the fine print and maybe consult with a financial advisor to see if an annuity aligns with your goals.
And what about Social Security optimization? It's such a vital piece of the puzzle.
For sure. Timing your Social Security benefits can significantly impact your total lifetime benefits. If you can afford to wait until age 70 to start taking benefits, you could increase your monthly payments substantially.
That's a huge consideration, especially if someone has a long life expectancy.
Exactly. But of course, everyone's situation is different. It's worth running the numbers to see what makes the most sense for your retirement plan.
So with all these strategies in play, it sounds like there are a lot of opportunities to build that passive income stream.
Definitely. But it's also important to be aware of common pitfalls that can derail even the best laid plans.
Oh, I can't wait to dive into those.
You know, Emily, one of the most common pitfalls I see is the sequence of returns risk. It's really critical, especially for folks who are retiring early.
Right! That's when the order of your investment returns can affect your retirement savings way more than you think. Can you give an example of how that plays out?
Sure. Let's say someone retires at the start of a market downturn. If they start withdrawing from their retirement accounts during those early years, they're essentially selling investments at a loss. I had a client, let's call him Greg. He retired in 2008, just before the financial crisis hit.
Oh no, that's tough timing.
Exactly. Greg had a solid plan, but the market drop hit him hard. He was withdrawing money to cover his living expenses, which meant he was selling low. Fast forward a few years, and even though the market recovered, he found himself in a tough spot because he depleted more of his savings than he originally intended.
So what's a better approach to avoid that situation?
Well, having a diversified portfolio is key. You want to have a mix of assets that can weather market fluctuations. Plus, having a cash reserve, like a bucket of money set aside for the first few years of retirement, can help. That way, you're not forced to sell investments during a downturn.
That makes so much sense. And what about taxes? I imagine that's another area where people slip up.
Absolutely. Many retirees overlook the tax implications when withdrawing funds. A common mistake is taking money from their retirement accounts without considering which accounts they're pulling from. For instance, withdrawing from a traditional IRA could mean paying hefty taxes on that income.
Right, and that can really eat into your retirement savings.
Exactly. I had a couple, let's call them Linda and Tom. They didn't think about their tax brackets when they started withdrawing funds. They ended up in a higher tax bracket than they anticipated, which impacted their Social Security benefits too.
Oh wow, so that kind of domino effect can really sneak up on you.
It can. And that's why tax planning is so crucial. It's not just about how much money you have, but how much you get to keep. If you're strategic about your withdrawals, like using Roth IRAs first, then traditional accounts, you can minimize your tax liability.
Now, let's talk about healthcare and longevity. That's something I think people don't really grasp until it's too late, right?
Yes. Many folks underestimate how much healthcare costs will rise as they age. I had a client, let's call her Mary. She planned to retire at 62, but she didn't account for rising medical expenses.
So what happened with her?
Mary had a few health issues that popped up, and her costs skyrocketed. She hadn't set aside enough money for healthcare, which forced her to make some difficult choices, like cutting back on her spending, or even going back to work part-time.
That's a hard lesson to learn. So how can someone prepare for that?
The key is to do your homework. Research average healthcare costs in retirement and consider long-term care insurance. It might be beneficial to work with a financial advisor to create a healthcare cost projection.
And what about asset allocation? Are there common mistakes there too?
Definitely. Many retirees stick too much to conservative investments, thinking it's safer. But if you're planning for a retirement that could last 30 years or more, you need some growth in your portfolio.
Right, because inflation can really eat away at your purchasing power, can't it?
Exactly! I once worked with a couple. Let's call them Jack and Sue. They were overly conservative in their investments, thinking it would protect their nest egg. But they didn't account for inflation, and over time, their purchasing power decreased significantly.
So a balanced approach is really important then?
Yes. Having a mix of stocks, bonds, and other investments can help you grow your wealth while still managing risk. It's all about finding that sweet spot that matches your risk tolerance and financial goals.
I can see how these mistakes can compound over time. What about Social Security? I know that's another area where people can get tripped up.
Absolutely. Many people claim Social Security too early, not realizing the long-term impact. I had a client named Karen who started claiming benefits at 62. She thought it was the best choice, but she didn't realize that waiting just a few more years could have increased her monthly benefit by a significant amount.
Wow, that's a big difference. So what's the best way to approach Social Security?
It really depends on your individual situation, but generally, the longer you wait, up to age 70, the higher your monthly benefit will be. It's worth running the numbers to see what works best for you.
And what about red flags? How can someone spot these potential issues early on?
Great question. Keeping an eye on your spending habits early in retirement is crucial. If you're finding that you're withdrawing more than planned, it's time to reassess your budget and investment strategy.
That's solid advice. And I guess regular check-ins with a financial advisor can help too?
Absolutely. A proactive approach can help you adjust your plan as needed. It's all about being flexible and prepared to pivot as life circumstances change.
So to wrap this all up, what are some next steps for our listeners to take to avoid these pitfalls?
Start by reviewing your retirement plan with a focus on diversification, tax strategies, healthcare costs, and Social Security. Consider working with a professional to help guide you through the process, and don't hesitate to ask questions along the way.
It sounds like a solid plan. And, being informed and proactive can really make a world of difference in retirement.
Exactly. It's all about setting yourself up for a comfortable and fulfilling retirement.
Thank you, David, for shedding light on these common pitfalls and sharing such valuable insights. It's been really enlightening.
My pleasure, Emily. Always happy to help.
And to our listeners, we appreciate you joining us today. Stay tuned for our next segment where we'll dive into some actionable strategies for building that passive income stream.
So let's dive into some immediate steps our listeners can take right now, Emily.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the first thing they should tackle?
I think the first step is really understanding where you stand financially. So tools like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab have some great retirement calculators. They can help you analyze your current savings and project your future income needs.
Oh, those calculators can be really eye-opening. I remember when I first used one, it made me think differently about my savings goals.
Exactly. And it's important to check them regularly, maybe quarterly, to see how you're progressing. It's a good habit to get into.
Right. And while we're on the topic, running retirement projections is also vital. You want to see if you're on track or if there are gaps you need to address.
For sure. And speaking of projections, the Social Security Administration's website, ssa.gov, is another great resource. You can estimate your benefits there, which is crucial for planning.
That's a solid point, David. Knowing what to expect from Social Security can really help people adjust their plans accordingly.
And don't forget about tax software. You want to make sure you're optimizing your tax situation, especially as you start drawing down on your retirement accounts.
Yeah, tax implications can sometimes be a bit tricky. Tools like TurboTax or H&R Block can guide you through the process.
Absolutely. And for those who like a more hands-on approach, financial planning apps like Mint or Personal Capital can help you track your spending and investments in real time.
Those apps can be really useful. They keep everything organized and help you monitor your progress towards your goals.
Right. And speaking of getting organized, I suggest reviewing your investment portfolio at least quarterly. It's a good way to ensure your asset allocation still aligns with your retirement goals.
And if you find that it doesn't, you can make adjustments, right?
Exactly. It's all about being proactive. And don't forget to keep an eye on your risk tolerance as you get closer to retirement. It might change over time.
That's such an important reminder. And for those who are just starting out or even seasoned planners, there are also some fantastic books and podcasts out there.
Yes, I always recommend The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. It's straightforward and really emphasizes the power of index investing.
Oh, I love that one. It's so practical. What about podcasts?
The Retirement Answer Man by Roger Whitney is a great one. He breaks down complex topics into bite-sized pieces and really engages with his audience.
I'll have to check that one out. It sounds like a great resource.
Also, Choosify is another excellent podcast. They focus on financial independence and share stories from people who've successfully navigated their retirement journeys.
Those are fantastic recommendations. It's so nice to know there are so many resources available.
Right? And just remember, it's never too late to improve your plan. Even small steps can lead to significant changes over time.
I love that mindset, David. It's empowering to think that you can always take control of your financial future.
Yes, and starting with those small habits like reviewing your portfolio or running projections can set a strong foundation for your retirement.
Exactly. It's all about building momentum, isn't it?
Absolutely. And as you build that momentum, you'll feel more confident in your plan and your ability to achieve your retirement goals.
So those are some practical first steps. Now let's bring this all together.
Well, Emily, that was quite the discussion on building passive income for early retirement, wasn't it?
Absolutely, David. I think we touched on some really important points. Just to recap, one key takeaway is the importance of diversifying your income streams, right?
Definitely. Relying on just one source can be risky. So exploring options like rental properties, dividends, or even peer-to-peer lending can really help create a solid foundation.
And we also talked about starting early. I mean, the earlier you begin, the more time your investments have to grow. It's all about that compound interest.
Right, and setting realistic goals is crucial too. You need to know what you're aiming for and create a plan that fits your lifestyle and risk tolerance.
And don't forget the importance of staying informed. The market can change, and keeping up with trends can help you adapt your strategy. It's a journey, not a sprint.
Exactly. Building and protecting your retirement wealth takes time and dedication, but it's so worth it in the end.
Yeah, and remember, it's never too late to start. Every little bit counts.
For sure. If you found value in today's episode, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share your biggest takeaway or any questions you might have in the comments.
And if you know someone who's planning for retirement or already in it, share this episode with them. It could really help.
Next time, we'll dive into an important topic: long-term care planning for retirement. It's something that everyone needs to consider, and we'll give you some insights on how to prepare.
We're looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, you have the power to build a secure financial future.
Take care, everyone.
Bye for now.